Evening. Sorry it's been a couple of days since I've said hi, but as per usual, let's get my big hand out of the way. Just so much has happened. Sorry if there's a little bit of wind. I'm trying to shelter it as much as possible, but wind has really been the story of the last 2 days at least. My last blog was out in the evening in the calm near a town called Loddigan. That night I continued on, a couple of little dolphins kicking around, and then made camp in my bivvy bag at the top of a beautiful little remote beach on an island. And then just looked up and the northern lights filled the clear sky. They were just dancing for hours and hours, just amazing. I didn't really sleep that much because they were pretty cool. Woke up early the next day and had a really big plod of a day, on and on and on. It's really all about doing the miles, doing the hours, and the more hours you do, the further you get. And it was a largely calm day. I crossed Vestfjorden between the Lofotens and mainland, and then stopped at a lighthouse for lunch. Pretty standard. You can just do that when you're on a shiller bike. Just stop at a lighthouse, no problem. And then continued 35-mile day. That's quite a big one for me. And then the next day, I woke up on a fairly windy little island and only managed 15 miles. And that's when things really got interesting. I stopped at halfway for a coffee break, which turned into a coffee 4 hours with a guy called Tommy and his wife Katalin, who's originally from Hungary, and they run a little fishing village. And they were just lovely. They just showed me around and you know, taught me some things. Everybody has something to teach, even if they don't realize it. And then I continued, and the wind was really picking up, especially, everywhere is kind of funneled by these mountains, and this one is called Nordskap. No, it's not, it's called Nordskap. And wrapping my pedant English tongue around some words. And coming across these fjords over here was just, it was hard going. In fact, the strongest winds that I've contended with on this trip, and it was just the right plod and really keeping focused, not letting myself go side on just for fear of the shiller bike flipping. That's my worst nightmare on this trip. It's small out there compared to some of these waves, and definitely compared to nature. I eventually made it into safe ground though, in this bay. The wind was still whipping through, but it didn't feel quite so treacherous. But then I hit a huge patch of weed, which basically fills this second half of the bay over here, leading into the town of Nordskott. I had pulled my prop up, and when I do that, I'm in no control, and I'm literally just going with the elements and taking the weed off frantically. Usually in that situation, when I can't put the prop down because there's weed everywhere, I grab my paddle. But what I hadn't realised was that in the hours previous, as I was battling against fjords, the wind and the waves had taken my paddle. So there's this little island just down here. It wasn't really that much of a deal, but I crashed into it. Oh man, I hope you can even hear me. I crashed into it, and then I just had to get away. So eventually I found a patch of no weed and made it across here, and eventually came into the closest safe haven that I could, this little harbour. A guy was just over there. He walked down to the pontoon. I explained where I was, what I was doing, and just asked if there was some shelter. And he said, yeah, just pull your bike up onto the beach, and the rest is history. This is Mannshausen. Those of you who are real big fans of the adventure world might have heard of Borg Ausland, and Borg is a famous polar explorer, and this is his place. And the guy who greeted me on the pontoon was his son Max. I couldn't believe it. I mean, what are the chances? This is Adventure Central in Norway. So I've spent today just waiting out even higher winds. It's just not safe to go out. So an unplanned rest day, but an amazing place to be. There's a whole team of volunteers here. Get on the website Workaway if you're a nomad and looking for work. They're always looking for somebody to come and join the team. Man, and I'm sorry if it's windy, but you might wonder where I am. They've got all of these amazing little buildings full of glass-fronted huts and some superb architecture here, and they've just bought a fishing boat. Yep, I'm doing this blog from a crow's nest. They bought this last week. It was a fishing boat heading out to the seas just last week, and now they're turning it into another apartment place space. It's given me so many ideas, and it's nice to have a rest day. A little bit annoying when I want to be moving on, but at the same time, I wouldn't have missed this place for the world. Norway just keeps on giving and giving and giving. I have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow or the next day, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be cool. And I'm not entirely sure that I'll be doing a blog from a crow's nest again. I hope you can hear this despite the wind.